Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru back again for UFC 277. Juliana Pena defending her bantamweight title versus the Lioness Amanda Nunes, widely considered the GOAT. Very, very tough, interesting matchup. Not to mention, we have the interim flyweight title up for grabs between Brandon the baby assassin Moreno and Kai Kara France. Sure, a rematch, nonetheless. Sure to be an interesting one. I think it's going to be a barn burner. But before we can get into that, we've got somebody very special in the building. He is a contributor for Pub Sports Radio. He is the co-owner of the MMA Engine. If you're not already following at MMA_engine, do that right now. We have DFS by the numbers Brady in the building. Big bad Brady. What is going on, my buddy? How are
What's
you?
up, guys? It's been a while, but yeah, looking forward to come back here. 277 should be a good card. The prelims a little bit iffy, but this main card's pretty fire. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to chopping up with you guys and see if we can find some spots here.
Absolutely, man. It's been way too long since we've had you, but you're always an honored guest whenever you come in. So when you do come, we save the big cards. So this one is like not only big, but like I was saying before, kind of tough. Not like sometimes when you have an Israel Adesanya pay-per-view, it's like okay, you kind of know where you're gonna get on Izzy, and then it's figuring out where you lay in the prop standpoint. But in a fight like this, man, this is so tough because Amanda Nunes was the minus 1,000 favorite last time. The shoe in, the one to make sure she was gonna walk it in. It was a dunk, and Juliana dragged her into the deep waters and just took it to a brawl. And I mean, my God, shocked the world. So can she do it again? That's the real question.
that is the real question. So, I mean, without further ado, we're going to get right down into it. We got our main event of the evening, a rematch. Amanda Nunes looking to get back that second strap, that 135 belt. What's going on, Daz? What's going on, Prince? Shout out to you guys always here in the chat. We appreciate you all. Make sure you send us your best bets. Daz, I starred your stuff. We'll bring it up as we get in later. And oh man, here we go. So Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes too. Pena, yeah, I mean, she is giving up the size here, but we saw she's not giving up anything in toughness. I mean, she's willing to walk straight forward into the fray. Just
Was that
about
a play on
impossible.
words into the toughness? Because they were on tough. Was that a play on words? Were you being slick?
Honestly,
Were
not
you
at
being
all.
slick?
Not at
No.
all, honestly. That's just my dumb brain doing
No, I know
things.
you're not that slick. I just wanted to call you out.
uh, yeah, man, I don't blame you because yeah, there's no way I would have put that together myself.
No shot.
But so yeah, I mean, we look back to their original fight and then where we're at now. I can't help but notice that Nunes looks like she's in pretty great shape coming into this one. Not that she isn't always in like good shape, but I think compared to last time, especially, you're seeing a little bit more focus showing up, in the frame. What we've seen at least on Instagram. So that's you can get some of that capping out of the way. But when you go down to how the fight played out the first time, I mean, Nunes was landing the big strikes early. I mean, Juliana Pena has a big welt under one of her eyes. What's up, Dr. Phil, waving the tail in Guterres' face? You got to love him making the guest appearances.
Of
Um,
course.
but yeah, so I mean, listen, Pena takes a beating, but she also weathers the storm. So even though she ends up in these grappling positions, I mean, Nunes, she's smiling. She thinks, okay, yeah, this is going to ride out nice and easy. And then all of a sudden, it's the jab, the 1-2. And I mean, it's ugly. It's not like, the slickest striking you've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, Pena ends up putting it on her. And Nunes just looked like she didn't have more than I'm going to knock her out early, like type of cardio that day. So I'm just curious to see, like, are we going to see, the Nunes that went 5 rounds with GDR, had to grapple for extended periods, was put in some bad positions on the feet and forced to like, wrestle. Like we've seen her do that before. And while, she's kind of been taking a step down, maybe she needed this loss to get a little bit motivated again. So you see the line, you're coming back, and whereas Nunes last time, well, I mean, we saw like minus 1,000 stuff like that. It's now minus 275 Nunes. plus 230 Pena. Seeing Nunes get those grappling positions early and kind of like the front choke positions, I had the same bet that I'm going to put down this time. I had the same thing last time, but Nunes by submission plus 450. That'll be where I'm laying on this fight.
Wow. Yeah, this fight is I need a drink. This fight makes me want to drink. Oh, thanks for bearing with me. Listen, this fight is freaking it's going to be epic, right? Because part of you thinks that like, okay, they're going to go at each other. And then the other part of me thinks that like, maybe they'll be like a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like cautious or strategic in terms of not wanting to get into that kind of firefight. I'm not sure either one of them wants to take that kind of damage. Generally when you see these kind of rematches, right? Like they have a little bit more respect for each other. So I kind of, I kind of like the overs in this fight. I think we do get to championship rounds, right? I guess that over 2.5 at plus 100 is, or plus 102 is kind of my coward's way out of like not being able to necessarily pick a side. I enjoyed this season of Tough. I mean, as much as anybody could. The fights were horrible, but just the backgrounds and whatever, the build-ups, it's fine. I always enjoy some fights, but from what I was watching, at least what I took away, Juliana Pena is like, other than the one fight with the girls where she's like, oh, you definitely won, and she clearly didn't. Juliana Pena seemed to show me that like she has like a higher like gym IQ, like a higher fight IQ. Some of the things that Nunes was like preaching and saying, and like, I don't know, it didn't translate, and her fighters didn't necessarily do that well. So all those things are kind of more narrative based. But like I said, I lean the over 2.5, and gun to my head at this moment, if you're making me take a person, I'm gonna go with Juliana to retain, because I don't want to be holding a minus 300 ticket like this chalky favorite. At the end of the day, right? These main events have been chalky favorites at these minus 200s, minus 300s. So yeah, I'm gonna lean Juliana, and I like the over 2.5. Brady, it's been too long, buddy. I need to hear this, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
mute my mic.
man. Yeah, this is a tough fight to call. I went and watched the tape and looked through all the numbers, and everything does point towards Amanda Nunes, and it's kind of narrative based, right? Like if we get the best version of Amanda Nunes, she shows up, she's motivated, she's ready to go, she's in shape. I think she styles on Juliana Pena, but seeing her get into that second round, just having nothing left mid-second, not the best look in the world. And I know it sucks. I'm probably not going to have a bet on this main event because I do lean towards Nunes showing up more motivated. And of course, she did have excuses with, she came in there with injuries and stuff, and she had the COVID. But, I think she should win this fight. But like you said, do you want to lay minus 270 on a fight like this? Not really. And even like no props really stick out to me. I think if anything, I would take a look at the fight doesn't get the decision. It looks like a lot of money's coming in on the fight goes. I see the minus 230 there. Both fighters really good finishers. Amanda Nunes 81% finish rate, Pena 73, and then they've been finished in a combined 4-7, 7 of 9 losses. So I do see this finishing at some point. I don't know whether it's early or late. If it's early, it's probably Nunes. If it is late, it's probably Pena. But as of now, where the lines currently sit, not gonna have a bet on the main event unless I can get like the fight doesn't go at like minus 200. So I know it sucks not betting on the main event, but this is a fight where I think Nunes should come in here and win, but I just still have some question marks in the back of my head.
Brady, what I appreciate so much about that breakdown, other than its accuracy, its eloquency, it's the your willingness to admit that, like, you know what, it's the main event, it's a pay-per-view, it's a title fight, everybody's excited for it, and I don't have a strong bet, and it's something that TB and I said right before we went on live. I'm like, bro, do we not have a bet for the main event? Like, is that cool? Like, are we sure? He's like, dude, like, I'm not sure anybody does. Like, what can we do? And to hear you say that, it's like, that it makes me feel good, bro. So yeah, I agree completely. So popping popcorn. Shout out to Clint. So we'll be watching though. That's
it's
for damn
fire.
sure.
If it's Clint, it's Fireball. If it's Pop, it's Fight Night Picks, bro.
Oh fuck me.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
an asshole.
Yeah, it's okay. You're doing your best.
Whatever.
I'll
Jameson
find
anyway.
something to fuck up as the show goes on. Don't worry.
I always
It's more than likely.
Fucked.
In fact, I probably already did. So anyway, yeah, ultimately that's why I come away saying like, listen, the sub prop for Amanda Nunes at plus 450. That's the only thing I'm willing to put. Like, hey, the fight's about to start. I'm gonna throw a couple bucks on it before I watch it. Yeah, I'm not willing that. I'm not telling you guys that you should follow me off a cliff. So without further ado, I think we should get going on to our next fight here, because this one, I mean, we got another rematch, and this one should be a banger once again. You got Brandon Moreno versus Kai Kara France, and oh man, I'm just so excited to see. I think Kara France has made a lot of improvements, and seeing him at a plus 180 here, I think that's rooted in a lot of stuff that happened back in 2019. And we're 3 years down the line. I think the takedown defense and just overall game has improved a lot. And Brandon Moreno at minus 210. I do think I lean towards him as the winner the majority of the time here. I'm just not rushing to throw him in a parlay or make him like my bet of the day here. But Guru, are you willing to like try to talk me off of that type of thinking? What do you got here?
I think we've got another interesting fight where these guys fought. I mean, how many years ago was that? It was already a couple, right? Not
Yeah.
actually, really not too many. Only that, that's the thing. It's only about 2.5 years ago, right? But the way that these guys have gotten so much better is truly one of the more remarkable things, and one of the things that I've maybe enjoyed most about being a long-term UFC fan is getting to watch these guys progress over the course of their careers. And what we've seen with Brandon Moreno, which to me I think is truly the deciding factor of this fight, is that he's never been finished as a pro. So I truly feel if that stays intact come Sunday morning, that he's going to be the interim champion. With that being said, I kind of defer back to that same thing I said with the main event. And it's like, do you want to be holding that minus 200 ticket in a fight that I think if it goes decision, it's way closer than your minus 200, your minus 240 is going to look. And continually, I've seen tons of money come in on, right? All the people are on Brandon. Yet that line is not one of those minus 300, minus 400 lines that you'd kind of expect, especially on a pay-per-view week where baseball's sluggish. Like, there's nothing else to bet on. So you're going to get a ton of extra casual action. These lines get extra inflated when there's not other things to bet on. You'll see when football comes back that these lines will be a little bit less inflated. I just feel like, right, people are kind of discrediting that Askarov win just because maybe Askar hadn't fought in a while. But dude, like, that was one of the most impressive performances. Like, I was blown away. He styled on him. So, oh my God. I talk circles around it, right? I lean Brandon Moreno, but similarly, like, I'm not sure I have a play. The over 4.5 just seems that seems whack. Like, how it's minus 175. Fight to go the distance is like, what is it? Minus 150 or minus 160?
Minus 150.
Minus
Yeah.
146. So like, it just seems super. That's not a square. It seems
Are all rectangles a square or all squares a rectangle? What's the rule?
All rectangles are squares, not all squares are rectangles. Like,
all right. Well, does Moreno bring the belt back to Legoland?
Like, all bourbon are whiskeys, but not all whiskeys are bourbon. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got you. But all right, we digress too much. Maybe Brady can help me figure out what the fuck I'm saying here. Brady, what do you got for these fine people?
Man, no, I can't. It's weird. I'm probably not gonna have a bet on the main event. I'm probably not gonna have a bet on the co-main event, but I do have gonna have bets on the next 3 fights. So I mean, this is one.
Fair enough.
I think you have to favor Brandon Moreno here. I just really struggle to see him paying off this minus 210 price tag. Like, in the first fight, he didn't even try to attempt a takedown. And if he does here, Kai Kara France has elite takedown defense. So I do see this playing out on the feet. Both guys are very good strikers. I do think it'll be very competitive early on. I guess you can favor Moreno the longer the fight goes. And that's why I do think he should be favored. But yeah, I think this fight does go to decision. I do think it's competitive. I think Moreno very well could win, but he's going to look minus 210. I just don't think so. So it's dog or pass, if anything, but probably not going to pull the trigger on Kai Kara France. And yeah, I think the fight goes to decision. is interesting, but minus 150, you're going to be sweating. These guys are going to throw down for 25 minutes. So just nothing really sticking out. I'm definitely not laying minus 210, minus 235 on Brandon Moreno, though.
Yeah, see, interestingly enough, I feel like my play ends up being that, this fight doesn't go the distance at plus 110. It's a 5-rounder this time. I think a lot of people have rooted that, the last fight played out one way, so it's got to go the same way this time. And, to make another good point, all squares are Legos. That is also a fantastic point. But thank you, PC. We appreciate you, man. But yeah, so ultimately, I just think that both guys have improved their finishing potential and ability. We saw Moreno finish the champion, Figueiredo. We saw Kai Kara-France get finishes in his last few fights and then survive the onslaught of Askar Askarov. So ultimately, I'm not too confident picking a side. I think the line's too wide. I lean Moreno, but yeah, I think one of these guys is going to find a finish. Both of them got hurt by Brandon Royval, mind you. Moreno shot a takedown after he got clipped, and Kai Kara-France.
Yeah.
We saw what happened when they fought as well. So, yeah, ultimately that'll be my play on that fight as we come full circle.
Full circle.
That brings us.
How about the fight to just be like a split decision plus 500? Like just a little,
sprinkle.
like even like a yam bag play. Shout out Lou. Like, because we've seen Brandon Moreno do that kind of shit. I think we've even.
He got kicked in the nuts against Figueiredo. What do you mean? We've seen him do that kind of.
Well, we've seen it happen.
We've seen him get kicked in the nuts.
His nuts were in the way of a perfectly good kick. That's clearly his fault. Move your nuts, bro. Come on.
Fair enough. So yeah, on to our next fight here. Talking about nuts. The balls are hot. We got Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, versus Sergey Pavlovich. This one, now we're starting to get into some bet territory over here. Pavlovich is going to be 7 years younger. He has a 5-inch reach advantage. We go down, we take a look at the volume stats. Yeah, he's just about doubling up Derek Lewis as far as that goes. And I know it's in a little bit of a smaller sample size, but at the same time, we've seen Derek Lewis at a very large sample size.
A little bit smaller. It's 20 fights, 20 UFC fights.
No, I'm talking about Sergey.
What do you mean?
Sergey is a little bit of a small sample size. He's only got 4 UFC fights,
right?
And they're all like kind of shorter,
right?
So I was saying but his volume, I still trust that. I trust that his pace is still going to be better than Derek Lewis's. Now, interestingly enough, I'm going to go ahead and shout out Daz here because he's kind of got the same idea that I was thinking about here. It goes the distance plus 400 and then the over 1.5. I feel like every time we've seen a fight that's like minus 600 goes the distance, we've seen some sketchy fights goes the distance.
Right.
So that's worth once again, maybe a little sprinkle, but Chronic Combat's coming together on an official play here.
Come together.
So Guru, take us away here, dude.
By the way, Daz, it's that fight to go the distance is plus 480 on FanDuel, so you get an extra 80 cents if you're able to access that FanDuel line.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we're those guys this week. Hopefully you follow our Bet MMA page, like we preach week in and week out, because we got this line early. We are on Sergey, man, which is devastating. Because as a fan, who doesn't like Derek Lewis?
Sergey.
Part of the narrative, right? If we even want to talk about that, is Derek Lewis again. Derek Lewis again in Texas here. He just doesn't win in Texas.
Oh, no. So wait, are we following the narrative?
Obviously, that means he's going to win in Texas. But no, he literally doesn't win in Texas. And we got Sergey at plus 100, baby. Come on. That line is now minus 140. So.
What?
Yeah.
I saw minus 125 earlier, minus 140 now. That's interesting.
Yeah, minus 140.
I don't know about all that at this point.
It's getting a little crazy. And listen, you feel that type of way, now we have the option to buy back on Derek Lewis, which is fine.
Which you do it by knockout, if anything.
Of course.
Or is it Derek double leg Lewis coming out for this fight? I don't know.
Derek double leg Lewis.
What do you think, Guru?
That's funny. No, listen, I like Sergey here. I'm worried about where Derek is in terms of his career. I love Derek. He literally punched me in the face for saying that. If anybody heard what he said about the media today, it was super funny, as always.
You gotta love Derek.
Yeah, but he's just, and it's in a good way. Like, he's just not the same guy. Like, I just wonder where the hunger is per se. Necessarily 37. He's done a lot of the things I'm sure you could dream of. Each fight, he's getting paid well. Each fight's I assume another chit towards his retirement, towards whatever it is he wants to do after fighting. I get, listen, at heavyweight, you can keep going till 43, whatever. And, that's if he wants to do that. And good for him. That, I'm sure, again, still part of his retirement plan, I'm sure. But at a reach disadvantage, at an age disadvantage, at a speed disadvantage, and possibly like power negligible, like similar power, it could be very fucking interesting. Pavlovich seems to be the real deal. His only issue is that, he hadn't fought in forever, and his level of competition has been suspect. So either he's taking 4 giant steps up in competition, or, he's kind of in this ballpark already. What do you think, Brady? It's been way too long since we've heard from you.
Yeah, so this is going to be my first bet of the show here, and I'm with you guys. I like the Pavlovich side. Would have liked to get him at plus 100. Missed out on it, but I was able to get his knockout prop at plus 130, and I think that is his win condition here. Pavlovich, an 80% finish rate, all 80% of that coming by knockout. Derek Lewis has been knocked out 6 times. And yeah, like you said, I mean, this guy's powerful, tons of power. I've seen him knock out guys with a jab. And on top of that, 12 knockouts, all 12 of them knockouts actually come in the very first round. So I was kind of looking at the first round knockout prop, but looks like they're all over it. I think I saw like plus 240, but I just took the straight up knockout prop. He's longer. He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. I think that's huge. He's younger as well. And yeah, I do question where Derek Lewis is at in his career as well, especially after coming off of a brutal knockout. So yeah, I like Pavlovich. Of course, you can't play the money line now, minus 140, but yeah, plus 125, plus 130 for that knockout prop. I think he knocks out Derek Lewis if he is to win. When I lay minus 140 on Pavlovich at this point, not really. I mean, you never want to count Derek Lewis out of any fight. He can knock out anybody in the world. But I do like the younger Pavlovich to go out here and knock out Derek Lewis and probably do it in the first round. But yeah, like Daz was saying, the fight goes decision plus 480. I mean, I could see it happening, but I don't know if I have the balls to pull the trigger on something like that.
All right.
I don't necessarily blame you, because it's just too fucking sketchy. I mean, I literally mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. It's like, you bet these fights that you think are just gonna go, and they get so fucking close, and then they don't. Like, I bet the Dawkins Lewis fight to start round 2, and he's going there, and it's patient, and then Dawkins is like, fuck this shit, and then he's sleeping. So like, it's a that shit can totally happen. And if everybody knows Derek Lewis at this point, so if anybody's gonna snatch victory out of the jaws of defeat, it's gonna be Derek Lewis. So if anybody's gonna be getting beat around the cage, verge of knockout, just throw that haymaker and and knock Sergey all the way back to Russia, it'd be Derek. But I like Sergey here, and yeah, I love the fact that we were able to get him at plus 100. That was shout out TB on that. He was I liked it, but I wasn't necessarily ready. He was fairly insistent, so I think we're gonna be good on that too. So we got 2 units on that, and
yeah,
we're ready to rock.
Shout out to all the boys in the chat. We got Mr. D here. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, that definitely happened. Prince of Mischief, yeah, and under 2.5 plus 115. That's also solid in case of any other shenanigans. Part-time fighter, Derek Lewis. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, if he said it himself, especially. And yeah, so ultimately, I think it's great that we're all on the same train here, it sounds like. And it's all about what type of value you're able to get here, especially at this point as the line moves. But I mean, yeah, especially if you see these guys face off, you're just going to see the size. I'm curious if that 6'3" actually matches up on both sides.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's so interesting too. I definitely want to see how they look faced off. And speaking of which, I hope that nobody's like insulted by my open chest jersey right now. Like, we're beating the Yankees right now, right?
I'm a little insulted just in
today.
general.
Like, I'm just feeling myself out here. You know what I'm saying? Let's fucking go Mets. Like,
all that chest. I mean, geez, I'm a little insulted myself. But yeah, okay, we're on to our next fight. We got Alexandre
Whoa, look at that.
Pantoja versus Alex Perez. Yeah, things are pretty interesting when you just pull up the stats here for this fight. I mean, look at who's got all of the advantages. Now, if this is a gradient style, we would see that, some of these
Needs
stats
to
are
be.
actually extremely close, and we're working on it, Guru. Give
Needs
me a
to
little
be.
time. We're working on it. But yeah, so ultimately, I mean, Perez, all of his stats, yeah, they are better than Pantoja's, but they're all, just about extremely close. And then when you look at like the grappling numbers, I get it. Perez is going to be the better wrestler overall. But Pantoja, while he's been controlled for, some periods in the UFC, I think a lot of those numbers are skewed when it comes to like the Askar Askarov fight. So overall, past that, I don't think we've seen him really controlled for too many extended periods outside of that. And the other thing that I'd like to point out is that when you look at his distance striking numbers, you have to keep in mind, I mean, that he has a fight in there that goes the distance against Davison Figueiredo as well. Whereas Alex Perez, he had the privilege of getting finished early against Davison Figueiredo. And the guys that he fought on his way up, those aren't the type of ones that are going to affect the statistics as much as Manel Kopp going the distance, Brandon Royval round 2, fight, Askarov decision. So I just think like even though you see Perez is going to have the advantage here statistically, there's also a reason why when you look at the line, you see Alexandre Pantoja is going to be the favorite here, -190 and Perez at +160. I probably missed some line movement, but Pantoja at -190, I still see value. Overall, where I'm going to play this fight myself is Pantoja inside the distance. I think we've seen Perez have tough weight cuts in the past year, especially recently, a bunch of fights canceled. So if this fight even does go off, is the question at the end of the day. But yeah, if it gets there, Pantoja inside the distance, +200, because the submission at +330 was kind of interesting to me to start off. But you're not giving up too much value by just going inside the distance of +200 because we've seen him with the power in his hands as well. And Perez, I know it hasn't been in the UFC, but I don't think he's beyond getting dropped. He has been knocked out before. So, Guru, what are you thinking here, man?
It's really tough to even try to be on the Alex Perez side. Yeah, it's so true. I appreciate that, Mr. D. As a Met fan, we definitely have been through a ton, and who knows, we still might go through a ton. We anyway, the thing with Perez is like, again, even if you want to be on the dog, it's like you're really not basing it on too much because we haven't seen the poor guy since November of 2020, which is way too long. He's had 6 canceled fights, 2 of which were specifically his fault. One of which was a withdrawal, and the other which he missed weight for the Schnell fight, and Schnell declined, I believe. Those things are not good. At flyweight, like TB said, I think if you do even have a strong opinion on this fight, A, I think you're like a little crazy, and B, I think regardless, you need to wait for weight cuts. Pantoja has fought the way better level of competition, like all around. So the stats being, at least close tells me that, Pantoja should be much better. But specifically, what I do want to highlight is Alex Perez's elite level of wrestling. Like, generally, we see the wrestling be the dominant factor in MMA. Like, it's what you want as your foundation. So if Perez, I think, can avoid being submitted, like, you just want to fucking spam takedowns and lay on top of this guy, because I'm not sure if you want to stay on the feet with him. Like, again, Perez is only 29. I'm not sure the improvements he's made or not. You get they're similar in age. You get the little bit of reach advantage for Pantoja. Yeah, I kind of like Pantoja to win like a 29-28 decision or some shit like that. But I don't hate it. I don't hate the finish prop either. I like Pantoja to win. But I think Perez could be sneaky here. So I don't know. I guess I'm playing my cards close to the vest, which is not that exciting. Brady said he's got a bet, so I have a feeling he might sway me. What do you got?
Yeah. If this goes to decision, I do think it'll play out close. I kind of lean towards the Pantoja finish though, and the bet I do have is the scorecards equals no action for Pantoja. I got it at minus 160. It's now minus 190. So still around that money line, which I do like because you're not finishing Alexander Pantoja. This guy's fought guys like, Davis and Figueiredo, guys like Askarov, in 29 professional fights, never been finished. No, yeah, 29 professional fights, never been finished. Whereas Perez, he's been finished 5 times and 5 of 6 losses. So I think if there is a finish in this fight, it is going to be Pantoja getting that finish, and that is why I do like that scorecards equals no action. And then the Perez submission prop really sticks out. I know the Pantoja submission prop really sticks out. Perez has been submitted 4 times. Pantoja legit black belt and BJJ. That submission prop opened up for Pantoja on Bet Online at plus 600. Wish I would have saw that. It's now plus 450. Like even then, I think it could be worth a little sprinkle there. Like especially if Perez wrestles, like he can get caught in something. So I lean towards Pantoja locking something up. Don't want to sprinkle on the sub, but I like that scorecards equals no action. And if you like Perez, maybe Perez by decision, because like I said, I mean you're not finishing Pantoja. I'd be really shocked if you did. Perez by decision is plus 380. Like if you like Perez, plus 380 by decision is probably the way to go.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, honestly, thank you. That little caveat, that little cherry is like the piece, at least in my analysis or my breakdown in my own mind, that like I'm fucking missing. Pantoja hasn't been finished by these guys. So you start to, you chunk out certain pieces of information and exactly, or I mean certain outcomes and exactly. On FanDuel decision no bet Pantoja minus 152. So yeah,
on FanDuel, okay.
yeah, I do. I like that too. I think
Nice
that
call, Brady.
Perez, right? Because Perez's way of finishing is going to be ground and pound KO, right? Or clipping him, or like catching him in a guillotine or something like that. I just think that those things are fairly unlikely, especially again, like you said, he's fought Davis and Figueiredo. He's fought, Manal Cop and Royval. So much better than the guys that Perez has faced. And again, we haven't seen Perez in a while and weight cut issues. So I'm certainly interested to see this. Again, these fights are fucking, that's what I'm saying. Like for a pay-per-view, like these fights are so sketchy, but they're very important. Like they need to happen. Like that's what that is super cool about these fights is that they're all super important to the division. And good, you should bring up the next fight because I think it actually is the perfect segue because this is another one of those fights that maybe is a little bit more clear cut in terms of the money line, but is so important in terms of the outlook of the division. Take it away, TB. Like, what's up?
What up, Couch Warrior? What up, Tommy Touchy? Shout out everyone in the chat. Guys, make sure you're saying who your best bet is for the week. I'll make sure I put a star on it. We bring it up when we get to that fight, even if we're not on it right now.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. If you're somehow in this chat right now and you're not already subscribed to number 1, DFS by the Numbers, his YouTube channel, and 2, the MMA Engine, I really don't understand, 1, how that happened. So just back out of this video right now, or like keep the clip like running. Go find those 2 channels, subscribe to both of those, like a few of their videos, leave a few comments, come back here, leave a few more comments, and then let's have a good time, guys. Really looking forward to keep on breaking down this card. Like and subscribe to our channel, follow us everywhere. And that Bet MMA tips is clutch because we'll beat some line movement together. So at the end of the show, I'll pull it up, show you guys what to look for as far as Bet MMA tips go. Okay. So here we go. Our next fight, we got Magomed Ankalaev versus Anthony Smith. Man, I am super excited. Ankalaev is one of those guys like the Lionheart. Does Magomed have a cool nickname or not? What is it, like Goritz or something?
The real question is Magomed gonna break into his house or not? And 3 a.m.
Oh God, yeah. Well, yeah, you got to rattle Anthony Smith one way or another if you want to get into his head, I suppose. But I think ultimately the biggest issue that I have going into this fight for Anthony Smith is like, I'm like, well, he's difficult to finish. He's got solid striking. Like when you watch him on the feet, like he's good. He's got the Muay Thai, the kickboxing. Then like, okay, yeah, he's got like really good jiu-jitsu. He submits Devin Clark. He has a few good wins here, there. Getting some finishes, Ryan Spann, Jimmy Crute. then you really start to like dig into some of these wins, and then you're like, wait, now you're going up against Magomed Ankalaev, and it's like, all right, well, I understand, why they have this fight line the way they do, because right now it's Ankalaev minus 520 and Anthony Smith plus 410. I get it. I've been trying to find the reason to lay the dog line on Anthony Smith. I really love the guy. He's awesome, super smart, talented. It's just Ankalaev. The story that it comes down to is his distance defense is 63% and Anthony Smith's is 51%. So they have basically the same distance accuracy. It's just like Magomed Ankalaev is just that much better when it comes to defense. And the same thing goes towards takedown defense. And that's going to play out because, Ankalaev, you only see one takedown per 15, 33%. He's shooting 3 per 15. So the moral of the story is he's going to play on the feet and he's going to be safe on the feet. His opponents are going to be close in numbers on the feet, but the guy that's going to be landing the bigger strikes with the hands is going to be Magomed Ankalaev. He's got the counters. He can throw combinations, any stance, switching. He throws the head kicks. But Anthony Smith, I think numbers-wise, he's going to keep the pace close on the feet. However, if Ankalaev goes and takes him down, I don't think Smith is the same type of explosive submission threat overall that Paul Craig, 1 second left in the fight. Just that whole thing sketches me out too when you're talking about Ankalaev at minus 520. So we got to dig into some props here. So while we do that, Guru, did you find anything yourself? Like, what are you thinking on this fight?
To me, the submission thing is sketchy. So I think you're right at the end of the day when you look at Anthony Smith's amount of sub attempts. He only has 7 sub attempts in the UFC, which is not necessarily as many as you'd think when you think about Anthony Smith being so good at getting submissions. I don't know. Anthony Smith at plus 1,500 by submission seems like a little egregious. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind dipping into grandma's couch cushion to throw a couple shekels on that. But yeah, listen, it's interesting, right? Because you look at Anthony Smith and he's got the height and reach advantage, so that could be interesting. But he's not necessarily somebody that uses it very well. He doesn't necessarily have the best striking defense. He has very poor takedown defense, very poor. And when you say that, it's going to take place on the feet, if Magomed Ankalaev is even remotely a intelligent fighter, he will strike a little bit, try to hurt Anthony, fake some takedowns, and then go for a takedown and get one, because there's no reason to stand and bang with Anthony Smith. That's really dumb. So, when you look at 1 takedown per 15, you're like, oh, that's not great. But at the same time, and I guess it was an anomaly, like you said to me off air, because Anthony Smith fractured his femur in the first round of that fight. But the Rakic fight, he has even less takedowns per 15. And that's how he won that fight, is with the grappling, is with the takedowns, just kind of being bigger and stronger and holding him down. And then going to a decision for those 3 rounds. So I kind of like the fight to go the distance. I don't know why. I felt like it was the narrative that there'd be a finish, yet the props don't necessarily line up that way, with minus 120 fight going the distance, minus 110 it not going the distance. Interesting part is Anthony Smith has only won 1 decision in his UFC career and lost the other 3 he's went to. Generally speaking, Anthony Smith does not go to decision. So that's
not ideal.
Oh, so it's a weird bet to place. I like Magomed Ankalaev, and what's our little special there in the over 1.5? What's
so the over 1.5? I mean, minus 200. That cuts a lot of value off. I feel like that's a solid quote unquote money line play. Right, Smith is tough to finish early, right?
But if there was anybody that was gonna fuck up everybody's parlays this week, it really might be. It really, really could be Magomed Ankalaev. But DFS, it's WWE style. We're tagging in. Oh my God, the Yankees hit a 2-run home run, I think. Oh my God, it's terrible.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have a contrarian take here. I have nothing bet on this fight yet, but I will be betting the fight doesn't go to decision at plus money. Ooh. Looks like money's still coming in in the overs, and it makes sense, right? I'm a big Ankalaev hater. I'm not a big fan of the guy. I think he's kind of boring, but can't deny he's very good. But with Anthony Smith, he's going to bring the fight to Ankalaev, right? He's going to make him do stuff. And if when Ankalaev lets his hands go, like, he's super dangerous, hits really hard. And at the end of the day, Anthony Smith's been finished 13 times. So I think Anthony Smith is going to make this an exciting fight. And if he makes it an exciting fight, either maybe Anthony Smith can pull off the upset, like you said, he's had a 92% finish rate. He's only won one decision in the UFC, or with him being aggressive, he gets caught with something. So a little bit contrarian here. I'm going to take a look at the fight doesn't go at plus money. I'm going to keep continuing to wait it out, but I'd be fine with plus 100. Small play here because I am ready to be disappointed with another boring Ankalaev decision win. But I just think Anthony Smith is going to make this an exciting fight, and if that happens, I think Ankalaev's gonna have opportunities to finish here.
I kind of, if we can get the fight doesn't go at plus money, I may consider that, especially when if the line obviously continues to run. Right now, at least the both books that we have, it's fight goes the distance is about split at even money. So I'm a whore for that plus money, so I can't pull the trigger quite yet. Yeah, don't hate that at all. But when you look at the if you just wanted to go double chance, for example, at Magomed Ankalaev, I guess just by finish or KO submission, plus 140, certainly interesting.
Yeah.
Or even what I mean, I guess if Anthony Smith gets finished, how does he usually get finished? It's usually by submission, right? It's not usually by knockout.
He's been knocked out 9 times and submitted 4.
Submitted 4. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I like that contrarian play there, Brady. That's a pretty good idea. I like that.
The boring guy to maybe possibly perhaps not be the most boring ever.
It's I'm hoping
Abraham Lincoln
makes him not boring. Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln. Since we don't have to beat anymore, he's the new Abe.
Yeah, that's it, man. So all right, so hey, we got our next fight here. We got the Great White. Careful, the sharks are in the water. Alex Morono,
the mediocre white,
right? Versus Matthew Semi the Jedi Semmelsberger. Shout out to Dan Tom, because you got a couple boys that would appreciate it. It's the Fantasy Jewish Fight League. The guys that aren't actually Jewish but sound like they're Jewish.
They definitely do sound Jewish.
Yeah, so Matthew Semmelsberger, 100%.
I definitely went to Hebrew school with him. That's the thing.
So, shout out to the boy. Anyways, coming back to this fight, we got Semmelsberger minus 155 coming out of Hebrew school with the Guru. And then Alex Morono at plus 135. Man, I'm really pumped for this fight. I think that it's lined pretty properly, but I think we might be able to squeeze a little value still out of the Semmelsberger side. Morono, we've seen with the, when he's facing a power striker, he's had a solid success overall in his career at, kind of staying safe. His distance defense numbers are good and everything like that. He's only been knocked down 2 times. But when you watch recently that fight against Chaos Williams, where it's like he can succumb to pressure overall, and Anthony Pettis even hurts him a bit before controlling him a bunch. So I think that we're starting to see Morono, he does have good defense numbers, but if you're able to swarm him and get him in these positions where you can land the right combo, and Semmelsberger, he's coming in, he's got a 3-inch height, 2-inch height, 3-inch reach advantage, and he throws those straight pistons right down the middle. I think that at some point, we might be able to see that chin tested once again of Alex Morono. So Semmelsberger minus 155, I think he's going to land the more impactful strikes. And, I think he'll be able to match the pace, if not, outpace Morono, just with the threat of, his striking. And also the size, I think he'll be able to stuff, if Morono goes out there with takedowns for, which doesn't normally happen. He only attempts 1 takedown per 15, landing a quarter of a takedown per 15. So we're not expecting Morono to wrestle here. And even if he did try to, Semmelsberger's probably okay. I know the takedown defense numbers don't look great, but he's faced far more explosive wrestlers and probably more explosive, finishers as far as submission game goes. So I do think Semmelsberger actually probably has, the better chance at landing a takedown himself as this fight goes on with the size and him wearing on and, looking for a little break from, landing the strikes. I think if anyone does land a takedown here, it probably is Semi. So anyways, coming back to it, I
He's gonna
do
use the
think the
force.
minus one, exactly, minus 155 is appropriate. But if I was to play a prop here, then I say that Semi is going to get the knockout at plus 250.
Wow, that's certainly an interesting one, and I'll get to why. But so the thing is if you just quickly look over at FanDuel too, that line is getting wider and wider. Semmelsberger is now minus 174, which is just steep, with Morono chilling at plus 136. But it's the same line with plus 135. It's just Semi getting steamed. So I think if you like Semi at minus 155, you're gonna have to play it like right meow. Because I think that's a good spot. And if you want to be a layman, which sometimes I like to be, because keep it simple, stupid, right? The guy that's younger, the guy that has the height advantage, the guy that has the reach advantage is gonna win like 60% of the time, right? Or something stupid. You've got those three things with Semi. So right there, I'm already feeling good. Then you start looking into the tape and you're like, okay, well, the clear path to beating Semi is the takedowns, because he has pretty porous takedown defense and he doesn't look like he knows how to get back up very well. Like, he seems almost like a turtle on his back. It was really concerning versus AJ Fletcher. With that being said, they didn't test him here in this matchup with that specifically. Morono goes for even less takedowns than he does. He's the smaller guy, which I was just talking about. And the thing that's super interesting is Morono, who's super well known for his very good striking defense, has fought. Who has he fought lately? Mickey Gall, who's not a good striker. Zawada, who's like a crazy unorthodox striker and then likes to grapple, and the ghost of Donald Cerrone. Like, he's not faced anybody, let alone that is going to be able to stand and bang with him, let alone that's actually going to have a size and reach advantage over him and be able to use it. So for all those reasons, and as you're starting to see the line, continue to creep up, I think Semi is pretty good here. And in a fight card where I've been clearly wavering on favorites and dogs and this and that, I feel pretty good here that Semi's going to get it done. So I kind of almost want to play him there at minus 155. Yeah, he might channel some shit and get the knockout for Dallas, Texas there. But what about that over 1.5? Is it that sketchy? Because his one quick knockout, right, was that crazy one to what's his face? Chaos Williams, where he gets starched so quick. He's got another one in Legacy FC in 2014. He got knocked out by Diego Henrique. So those things are not necessarily ideal, but Semi's, while he put down what's his face? He put down Martin Sano and Jason Witt. But those guys are hilariously Hall of Fame bad chins. So I don't necessarily think that the knockout, if it comes, is going to come that quickly. I think Semmelsberger at the end of the day is a more volume striker than a power puncher. So I kind of want to go Semmelsberger in that over 1.5, that Chronic Combat special at plus 100, because I'm telling you right now, it's plus 100 right now. I promise you by Friday it'll be that goofy ass minus 110, and then it'll hit it. I'm feeling good about that. So I need some Brady. So I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I'm not going to have a bet on this fight, but I'm actually with you, Guru. I think this does get extended here. Yeah, like you mentioned, I think Semmelsberger hits hard, but I think we might be overrating his power a little bit. I mean, knocked out Jason Witt, who's been knocked out 20 times, and then Martin Sano, who shouldn't be in the UFC. Alex Morono's only been knocked down twice in the UFC by Chaos Williams, hits like a truck, and by Nico Price, hits like a truck. I think Morono is tough enough to last here, so I'm kind of looking at the over. 1.5, it's really steep. It's minus 335, but 2.5 minus 180. The fight goes decision minus 150. So I'm kind of looking at those, if anything. But Simmelsberger does have a lot of power. I was looking at the scorecards, the Eagles no action like I did for the Pantoja, but looks like FanDuel's all over it. They have it like minus 280, DraftKings like minus 250. On BetOnline, it's minus 200. Like if this fight does finish, I'd be shocked if Morono got the finish. So
Right.
I guess that's something I could look at there, minus 200, but I'm leaning towards this fight going over, getting extended. And I'm kind of looking at the fight goes at minus 150, but not something I'm running to the window for. I probably won't have a bet on this fight.
Yeah, those are all really good points. I think if you're playing Alex Morono, you probably have to play him by decision at plus 225 there, or I assume better on FanDuel. He's nope, that's actually worse on FanDuel, plus 220. So yeah, so plus 225 on the Morono decision, but no, that's not what I'm personally playing. I actually think I'm gonna put a unit down on this Semmelsberger and over 1.5 at plus 100
money, yeah.
because I'm a whore for plus money, and I also don't think it's gonna be there. Like I'm gonna forget, so I'm definitely doing it right now.
Guru, if you feel the urge, I give you permission on a half unit on BetMMA.
Whoa!
So if you want to lay that as well,
I'll
after
lay
you
something.
do
All
that,
right, I'm gonna lay
before
something.
the line moves, by all means, you talked me into it. I appreciate that. Sometimes,
by the way, guys, how do you on BetMMA? How do you track those like the over and the fighter?
Yes.
I've never done
Okay.
that.
Cool. So, let me see if I can do a quick.
Because I think I know how to do it, but I'm not like 100% sure.
Right. Okay. So let me pull this up. I'm going to get Bet MMA loaded here, and while I do that, yeah. So ultimately,
you want me to place it, or you're gonna place it live on air for everybody?
Yeah, okay. So let me set up the next fight while I load Bet MMA. So we got Drew Dober versus Rafael Alves. This fight going to be super exciting, but I think Drew Dober showed that, Wheezy kind of says it best when he's talking about, needing or maybe it's Brady, needing the shovel to come in there and finish guys. So, yeah, I mean, you saw Terrence McKinney. I think, he only brought the garden trowels for his appearance. So he couldn't quite get the job done. But yeah, I think ultimately Drew Dober. I'm leaning towards the Guru play here on the fight parlay, the Drew Dober and over 1.5. Because I think we find some early adversity, but you get a plus 130 on that. So I think we could sit on it for a little bit, make sure that we really like it. I don't think it's as big. We might go to like plus 120, plus 110. But yeah, that's where I'm leaning on this one. I think Dober is able to pull away as the fight goes on, but Alves is going to be dangerous to come out, as he always is. Crazy body kicks. He'll be game to throw up a guillotine, if anything else. And yeah, so 100%. So anyways, boys, go ahead. I will pull up the Bet MMA once I get to that correct page.
Sick, bro. So I don't know what it is. I barely pick Drew Dober fights correctly, and I'm not sure why. Drew Dober is one of the guys that interacted with me on Instagram like a million years ago before I even considered doing a fucking podcast or anything like that, tracking picks, anything like that. So he's just like the nicest freaking guy. So I always struggle to pick for him, pick against him. Like he's just super cool. So I picked against him. I picked on Terrence McKinney. I thought I won my bet 6 times. I did not win my bet any of those times. I picked him against Brad Riddell. He won the first round. I'm like, I did amazing. Let's go. He ends up losing the next 2. Islam Makhachev, I think I ended up taking like a flyer on him because obviously Islam was going to win, and Islam obviously won. So, I can't seem to get it right with him. Rafael Alves, another guy that has given me trouble when I'm being legitimately honest, because we had one of our big plays was on Mark DeCasey. We're like, as long as this guy doesn't get submitted in the first round, we're good. Like, he's got this. He comes out great, gets kicked right in the nuts. I'm like, this is not good. And Bisbing talks about it on the commentary. He's like, oh, or maybe Felder does. He's like, oh, that's going to take away from, like, I think it was Felder. He's like, oh, it's going to take away from how good he was about to start to look. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree that takes the wind out of your sails. And then like a minute and a half later, he's submitted. So best bet down the drain. then he comes out and he looks much better in his next fight. Does DeCasey, obviously we bet on him again, but we haven't seen Alves since. And I think similarly, like I'm not sure if it's too hard to handicap, so I don't want to belabor the point, but I kind of feel like Alves is sub or bust.
Ooh.
And to be fair, Dober's been subbed, I believe, 4 times in his UFC career. Triangle choked by Islam, which is excusable. Armbarred by Benil, not great. Rear naked choked by Olivier Mercier, which is really not great. Guillotine choked by Efron Escudero, not ideal. And yeah, so I feel like Alves could be live for that round 1 sub, but otherwise, I feel like Alves is I guess maybe other than that early round 2 sub, is really not live for much here. I don't necessarily see him out pointing to a decision. I expect Drew Dober to look good. You know what? I guess at the same time, maybe I'm banking on too much of Drew Dober's product, and then at 33, like he's not necessarily going to get so much better. We can only ask him to kind of maintain that level, right? Like how much better do you get at 33 in the lightweight division? Not that he's old, obviously, but I just feel like that's Brady. Talk some sense into me, please.
Yeah, so I like the fight doesn't go, and on DraftKings it's like minus 250, on FanDuel minus 260, on BetOnline it is minus 180 still, and I like that.
Ooh.
I feel like it covers both sides here. I feel like if Alves wins, like you guys mentioned, first round submission, and that's about it. And then if the fight gets out of the first round, man, you take a look at Alves. This guy's been finished 9 times out of 10 losses. We know Dober has a ton of power. And, Alves has been knocked out 3 times. He's been submitted 6 times. There's like retirement losses in there. There's like injury losses. Like once this guy leaves that first round, he does slow down as the fight goes on. And I think Drew Dober is going to really push a pace, make him work. And I can see Dober getting a second or third round finish. So I like the fight doesn't go. It covers both sides there. But even like Dober inside the distance at plus 125, I see plus 138. Like Alves, again, has been finished in 90% of his losses. And Dober is a finisher. So I like Dober here. If you like Alves round 1 subs plus 1100. But I think outside of that, he's kind of screwed here. And another thing I didn't like about Alves was in his last few fights, he's not going for takedowns. So is he going to, knock down Drew Dober and submit him that way? Dober's chin's legit. I know he got knocked down by Terrence McKinney in his last fight, but that was his very first knockdown against him in the UFC. So I like Dober here. Dober inside the distance, but the fight doesn't go. I feel like covers both sides here.
Definitely, it makes sense. I do like that because I guess
what do you have that line at? If fight doesn't go. What do you have that line at? It's chalky, no minus.
So he said bet online. He had minus 180, whereas it's minus 250 or minus 260 right now.
Yeah, that's a dirty line.
I don't know what FanDuel's doing with minus 260 and it opened up at like minus 270. I don't know what they're doing over there.
Brutalizing the line. And that's one of, again, like I said before, it's really the thing that I appreciate the most about you, Brady, is like I have this breakdown and I got all these pieces and you come in and you clear the smoke. And then I can see clearly. I'm like, okay, that makes fucking sense. So, I mean, if you're not following Brady, you're fucking up, pal. So go follow DFS by the numbers like that. I mean, you're already following
all right.
him,
So here we go. This is how the secret sauce is made. We're in the adding a prop bet, and when normally it would be NA would be automatically selected here. Or, the bars, so that when you're selecting an over 1.5 rounds as the prop. But if you go ahead, select fighter B, that'll make it Matt Semmelsberger to win and over 1.5 rounds. So it turns it into a parlay on the prop section.
Sweet. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. So there's something I'm looking at for this one as well. It's like a parlay like that.
Okay. Guru, we doing a half or a full unit here?
I mean, personally,
all right, I threw down a full unit too. All right, cool. Pretty good. All right, sick. So, cool. Awesome. So that's how it's done. That's how we enter our picks on Bet MMA. And guys,
pull up the profile.
This is where it gets really sketchy. I'm not going to lie.
Or not.
Like this is where
I thought you were going to show Brady the final result of how it looks. It's all good.
I mean,
No,
I was gonna pull up our Bet MMA one more time at the end.
Oh,
but,
all right. Okay. My bad.
So anyways, here we are. I got to get our stats up because we got the fight that everyone came to the show for. I know that the main event, that's what most people, might be interested in, but the real diehards here, they came down
so
for
excited for
Dontel Mays. Dontel Mays versus Hamdi Abdelwahab. I mean, this is the one that the people have been waiting for. So I reached out to Guru early in the week. I said, dude, we got to get some money down. We got to do it. We got to hurry up because Dontel Mays is already minus 150, and we got to make a move here. The line's running away. Hey, look, we were teaching Daz a little something on Bet MMA also. There you go. Welcome to the party, baby. So now it's like, all right. So I was like, Guru, make sure, please, like, don't just agree with me. Please make sure you watch the tape. Because I watched some Hamdi, and I was like, listen, like, all I see is him just fighting scrubs, knocking down with like rushing in combos. He gets top control and like
I love you. I love your version of this story, by the way.
Yeah, bro. I told you. I said we need to lay Dontel because he's gonna just wrestle him. He's so much bigger. He's got the distance management. Dontel's gonna win this fight.
Right, but you didn't implore me to look. You didn't implore me to look myself. I'm like, bro, hold the fuck up. It's Dontel Mays. Let me watch some tape. Well, again.
I can't lay anything on Bet MMA without you watching tape. Don't bullshit.
Then I gotta watch the tape. So he sends me, and I look back at the text message he sends me. He sends me 2 or 3 YouTube videos. Homie doesn't even pull up. One of them's an amateur fight, and one of them's a bare knuckle fight. I'm like, homie, you didn't even pull up his proper tape. Like, yeah, they're all fucking squash matches, but you're not even watching the right squash matches. So relax.
I'm still not that impressed.
You shouldn't be. There's no reason to be.
All right,
no, you continue. No, you continue. I needed to add that part of the story.
Right.
Now you can continue.
Fair enough. So, anyways, I'm in there. I'm getting all Dontel Mays happy. And so I tell him he's got to watch some tape. And he comes back to me. And you know what? God damn it, he's right. Because Rocky Martinez is in there rocking sock'em robots with Dontel Mays. And guess what? That's another short guy, but not quite in the physical, sculpted Egyptian shape that we're seeing our boy Abdelwahab come in with. So listen, I'm going to poke some holes in like the credentials here because Olympic wrestler for like the Egyptian wrestling team, I don't think it means as much as, just overall. I just don't overall. But he's a heavyweight. So you get like that size and you get any type of wrestling experience and you get like on that track, like, yeah, it's great that he was part of it, but it's kind of the same thing as saying like someone went to like Montana for D1 wrestling as opposed to like, one of like, I don't know, Texas, is it? Or
Penn State.
I don't know. One of the big wrestling schools. You know what I mean?
Penn State, exactly. Oklahoma. I got you.
There you go. Thank you.
Continue.
So anyways, yeah. So Hamdi, I think what it comes down to is it's just sketchy how like he's gotten stood up multiple times as this great wrestler fighting low-level competition. They're like, Hamdi, you got to do something. We're going to stand you up. Like, come on, man. Do something. Like, you got to at least try punching them. You can't just sit inside control. And sure enough, he'll get reversed at times. So, but at the end of the day, it's like, I don't think Dontel Mays really is just going to like sit on top of him or anything. So, okay, I had to chill out, whatever. Where I ended up, fight goes the distance plus 150. Fuck picking a side.
Yeah. I'm on the dog here. I think I'm literally the only person on the planet. As Brady's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm sure. And that's fine. That's fine. You know what? It's fine. Because I also stupidly circled what's his face at the guy that was literally a fraud. Against Menafield. That was really funny with the neck beard. Yeah. So the thing with the grappling is that like you alluded to, and this was like the major point that I was making in defense of Dontel Mays being terrible. It's like you go to like he literally landed one more significant strike than Rocky Martinez. That dude is like Bunzino. Like he is small. He should be like a middleweight, but he fights at heavyweight because he's just like, I mean, he's obese and he's a gamer. So he's been everywhere. He's fought all over the world. Good for him. And then you took down and laid on top of Josh Parisian. Oh, bro, great. throw it away here. It doesn't matter because I don't care how sketchy you think Hamdi is. He's not gonna get out grappled by Dontel Mays here, because even in the times you've watched him have to get stand up or you've watched him get taken down, he reverses, he scrambles, he's quick. Like he does have some of these inalienable skill sets that, like, these things that you can't teach per se. So I did like some of that. Again, you watch him fight Matthew Strickland. Like, that dude is fucking, he's literally, I think I saw him bagging groceries or pumping my gas or something. Like, that dude is, I don't know what he might be, the manager at not even the manager, like the assistant manager at Arby's. Like, I don't know what that guy is doing. So there's no, oh my God. And Tyler Lee, bro, Tyler Lee looks like, I don't know, like he literally got fired as the assistant manager of Arby's for, like, I don't know, eating too many fries on his break or like jerking off in the bathroom like that.
Jeez.
I don't know.
I guess that crosses him off our future guest list.
Yeah, well, it's fine. It's
yeah. So actually, to make a point to add to Guru here is that okay, Mac, and in all fairness, this point's going to add to this also, is that listen, Dontel Mays has that Indiana and Kentucky state champion judo background. I'm going to throw that in the same like garbage category as, like, you got to be from a better area for that to actually matter in the United States. I'm not taking that as
when you look at Dontel Mays' striking, he doesn't impose his vertical reach like that. You know what I'm saying? He's not somebody that's amazing at keeping distance like that. Like, if he gets taken down and held down, let's think about that for just 1 second before I turn it over to Brady, and he's going to make some more sense for everybody. Like, if Dontel Mays gets held against a cage or put on his ass for even 2.5 minutes of some grinding wrestling, do you actually expect him to have enough pop in his strikes to start piecing up and putting down this guy? I really, really, really don't. And if I can go one step further, Vegas lined it a coin flip. That's where I'm at. For as strong, as opinionated as I am right now, I line it a coin flip. And that's where Vegas, I'm like, okay, Vegas, I agree with your line. And then you watch the Dontel Mays train go off. Okay, so now I got dog money on a guy that might be good. I'm taking a chance that this guy might be halfway decent. I'm taking a better than 50-50 coin flip. Like, I'm taking better than a coin flip that this guy might be better than Parisian or Rocky Martinez. I like my fucking odds. Let's go, dog.
All
Brady,
right, Brady,
bring some sense. It's been, as usual, like I like to say, it's been way too long.
Man, I don't know. I mean, you definitely are on an island, though. I mean, my goodness, look at this line. Mays opened up plus 100, went to plus 115, plus 130, and now he's minus 190. And I think that line just keeps getting wider and wider. So yeah, if you like Hamby, I'd probably just wait till fight day. For me, I don't have a bet on this fight. I would have loved to get Mays at plus money. I saw him there last week. I didn't have time to look into the fight, and once I did, the line was already gone. It was like minus 130, and then I was like, nah, I don't really want to bet on Mays as a favorite here. I'm with you. I'm not high on Mays, but my goodness, Hamdy, some of the worst level of competition I've ever seen in my life. Like, I can't think of a fighter who's fought worse competition there. And even against these guys, like, he can get takedowns, gets good wrestling, but he has no control on top. He's very sloppy. I don't trust his cardio. And although I'm not high on Mays, I do think Mays should get this done, but am I trusting Dontel Mays at minus 190? No, I wouldn't even play him at minus 130. But I wish I would have got that plus money like I knew a lot of people did. If I'm going to play this fight, I probably would have to play like Mays inside the distance plus 130. Even that, like, I'm not too excited about. I did see Mays by sub plus 2,200, and he just got his purple belt. So, but yeah, outside of that, I probably will be passing on this fight. But yeah, if you wait till Saturday, man, I mean, Mays is probably going to get past minus 200. As crazy as that sounds, like everybody's on Dontel Mays this week.
And just for the record, I maybe I don't really want it on the record, but I guess I should. For the record, I kind of like the fight not to go the distance, where TB likes the fight to go the distance. Brady, do you have any like horse in that race at all?
Just
not with your own money per se, but like
I think it finishes, but I just don't want to lay minus 200 on this fight in general. If I'm betting
Right.
anything, I would need plus money to bet on a horrible, terrible fight like this.
Yes.
Right. How about a yam bag in this fight?
I could see it. I could see a yam bag. I
Oh,
could see a draw.
okay. With that,
Something
shout out
crazy.
Lou, baby. Shout out Lou.
What up,
What's
Lou?
going on,
As I
baby?
said, as I said it. Oh shit.
Hey,
No,
As
no,
I said it.
he's been in here. I've been waiting.
Oh, what up,
patiently.
Lou?
Yeah, can we be done with these porn dudes? No. Guru is
I saw that
keeping
before,
his
too.
shirt open. Guru is gonna the porn dudes are living on. That's why they came into the chat because
Top of
Guru
the ninth,
brought them
2
in with
outs,
this
2 strikes.
open Met shirt out here.
Let's go. Come on.
But I guess, like you guys said, I guess that means that we made it if we're starting
that
to
was
get
the
the
worst
porn
pitch
people
ever.
in here. If we get the sex bots,
Oh.
oh yeah, that's how you know. But yeah, okay. I think we spent plenty of time on Dontel Mays versus
I was
Hamdi
passionate.
Abdul-Wahab.
Wait,
But I don't think
wait,
Brady
wait,
ever
wait.
expected to
No,
spend that much
wait.
time on that.
For the
Okay,
record,
all right, go
for
ahead.
the
Spend more
record,
time on that fight. Go.
For the record, and you'll remember better than me. The
Okay.
last time I went on this rant, was it like literally last week? Wasn't I right? Who was I on? I went on a huge rant.
Was this a poopies rant or what type of rant
No,
was
it
it?
was this
Was this
kinda
Dwight
rant.
Grant?
I was right about that one, but no.
What else
What other
was it?
rant?
I mean, you think about it. I can't remember,
Fine.
but you
Fine.
might be right. Go.
I am.
Look at last week's card. Think about it. Get that brain turning. If you see some steam blowing off
I'm
anywhere,
moving slow.
don't be concerned in the
Brady's like,
chat.
what the fuck is wrong with these guys?
If you want a yam, yep, exactly. Yep, we got to make sure go to Lou's show. If you want a yam bag shot, that is his dealio. You don't want to be stealing Lou's stuff. And then all right. So we got Drucker close here versus Rafa Garcia. This fight, oh baby. Maybe I'm a little more excited for this one than I should be, but I see Drucker close at minus 205 and Garcia plus 175. I think that's too much. I gotta say Rafa Garcia is gonna at least make this ugly. That doesn't mean he'll necessarily.
That's not
win.
nice. He's not ugly.
He'll make this. He'll make the fight goes the distance minus.
He makes the
190.
fight ugly
Is
by
that what
being
we're
a part
doing?
of it. I get what you meant. That's not nice.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing his best. Fight to be won by split or majority decision at plus 450. Maybe, but close. If he looks to the best of his ability, if he comes out here and fights the way that he's fought in the past, and Garcia, he has shown us, oh man, I was going for the finish and gassed out. Dunzo. There's been plenty of times where, I would be concerned if Garcia was a favorite, like, plenty of times in the past where I got burned betting him against Chris Gutzmacher, that fight I'm talking about. But Drucker close here at minus 205. Yeah, this ain't Brandon Jenkins anymore, but at the same time, it's also not like Beneil Dariush at the same time. So it seems like money is coming on the Garcia side because he was at like near to plus 200, now dropping down. Thank you, Prince. Shout out. So
by the way,
I like it to be a close fight.
Yeah, so that rant, I definitely had a rant about Dustin Stoltzfus and Dwight Grant. So that's for sure. That was 2 weeks ago. And then the rant I'm pretty sure I had, we'll have to double check the tape. Pretty sure I ranted about Victoria Leonardo over Mandy Bohm last week. I'm pretty sure I went on a ridiculous rant about that fight too.
Same.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. So back to this fight. One of the things that one of my buddies, shout out UFC Shark, highlighted to me when we were talking, and it's just a good thing to always remember. When I'm trying to get over that little hiccup over a few cents of value, is that Drakkar Klose was supposed to fight Carlos Diego Ferreira. So I think on pretty much all levels, he's probably better than Rafa. Maybe like it's kind of the question would really be, where is Carlos Diego Ferreira in his career at this moment? Because he's a little bit long in the tooth, but he should be the better fighter all around than Rafa. It's like Rafa is Carlos Diego Ferreira light. You know what I'm saying? Like Miller light, like it's the light version. So, you're gonna have to. It's clear where you have to test Drakkar, and you got to grit it out against him, and you have to use his wrestling against him. You got to take him down. He's shown that he's got good takedown defense on that first takedown, but then if you repeat it on him, he starts to give it up, and that's a problem. However, with Rafa, and then on short notice, which again is relatively short notice, 2-3 weeks, I'm just not sure that he's going to be able to do enough grappling, control him enough, hurt him enough. So I kind of like this fight to go the distance, which I'm probably pretty sure is not a that's probably not a like an outlandish pick, right? That's probably it's minus 180. So exactly. So it's a little chalky. That's kind of where I like it. And then maybe I even like the Drakkar doesn't finish anybody. He's a decision guy, as you see by the line there. So I'm not sure what our DraftKings Drakkar and over 1.5 might be, but it's probably a little chalky. What do you think, Brady? I feel like you got something cooking.
Yeah,
What
I
do you-
mean, you said it. And that's exactly what I like. I like that same game parlay, close over 1.5,
Ooh.
minus 130, and he's like minus 205 on the money line. He doesn't finish anybody outside of Brandon Jenkins, who's probably not. Well, he's not UFC caliber. Garcia, very tough, never been finished. A great chin. Close.
And did you say minus 130?
Yeah, minus 130. Yeah.
That's fucking minus 175 here on DraftKings because we don't have the same game parlays yet on MMA here in Jersey.
Ooh, yeah, minus 130, and then even
That's
like
sick.
on FanDuel, they have the round 3 decision for close.
That's what I was thinking about.
That's minus 120. So I was thinking about playing one of those, but yeah, minus 130 for the over 1.5 and the close. But yeah, I think that was a good point with the short notice for Rafa Garcia. I think he's a really talented fighter. He's young. I think he can improve, but in a short notice, we've seen him gas out before. I think he could potentially have success early on, but as the fight goes on, I think Close is going to get stuff to take down. It's easier and easier on the feet. It's, Close is the better striker here. So I like Close. Do I like him at minus 210? Not really. I think this fight does play out closer than that. But yeah, the over 1.5 parlay with Close, and then the Close round 3 decision, and then even Close by decision, which is plus 105. I like all those.
Yeah, I feel like Close is gonna be. He's gonna look sketchy while you're holding the ticket, but in hindsight, he's gonna do just fine, and he's gonna win the fight. And that grouping is the way to do it. DraftKings has that round 3 decision minus 125. FanDuel has it minus 120. I think I'm gonna try to convince TB to lay 1.2 on that.
Okay.
Bane literally was just cheering to you, buddy.
What up, Bane?
Shout out to you, bud. Dude, so are we meeting you next week? Is that a thing?
Are we hanging
out? I'm pretty sure we're hanging out.
If you guys haven't heard,
I need to bring it up, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll be at PFL next week. We got some media credentials. We'll be at the Hulu Theater at MSG. Shout out Bane, the boy, helping us figure out the process and getting us in contact with the right idea there. I mean,
so exciting.
We're gonna have a great time.
So
I can't
freaking
wait.
exciting. Anthony Pettis, Stevie Ray too. You got Mercier, right? OAB, who's like become the king over there. Super fucking sick. Was literally considering buying tickets just because, like, just trying to pull up. But to be blessed with the opportunity to be media members, and just, report again, do what we do, literally, like, just report on the sport that we love, and it costs nothing but the expense to go there. I'm just incredibly excited. And dude, I mean, we might literally get to meet like Bane and fucking Alex Bahunin. Like, I mean, I want to hang out with these guys and like, that's fucking sick. So, and watch these fights, my God. So, all right, we'll move on. We got a whole
Let's move on here. Appreciate you, Mac. We sat next to you at CFFC. Awesome time. And hell yeah. So we got Michael Morales versus Adam Fugit. Yeah, I mean, Fugit, it was kind of interesting watching his tape. He goes out there against Solomon Renfro, and the way he comes out, he throws like 15 head
dog, plus 450 dog. Dude, all right, so thank you for bringing that up. He's literally, it's like when you give your like 11-year-old cousin the fucking UFC 4 controller, and he's just spamming high kicks. homie literally threw 12 high kicks in like 30-40 seconds. It was
I was sick. Like, what am I seeing right now?
And the announcers are like, oh my God, home run, game over. Oh my God, that's sick. Escobar, love it. So dude, he's literally spamming high kicks, and the announcers go over and over. They're like, maybe you should block that with more than one hand. And then they go, you really definitely should block that with more than one hand. And then he gets hit with a fucking left cross that spins him around, bro, like naughty. And and that's it. And he literally cashes a ticket in like within 2 minutes as a plus 450 dog. So and then scores his ticket here.
Right. Yeah. I don't think that's a workable game plan against Michael Morales, however. Just in general, I don't think you can just come out, throw the left head kick until you land the counter, the check right hook on the back foot. I think Fugit, what I do think, over 1.5 at -105, there's some absurd value there. Trevin Giles, being finished by Morales, he gassed himself out going for a choke early. He went for some wrestling, goes down for a squeeze, tried, I think it was an arm triangle he was trying to lock in or something like that, gets up and then just starts getting like absolutely pulverized. I think if anything, I think Fugit's going to come out, debut here, and short notice, all that stuff. I'm at least banking on the fact that we can get an over 1.5 -105. I feel like there might be some sort of value baked into it there. I'm hoping the line keeps moving. I'm not going to play it yet. If it gets to plus money, I might do something, but I really am not in a rush to play anything.
You like the over 1.5? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I kind of agree, actually. Like, I was also thinking that, like, again, like this guy Fugit, like, he's got that dog chutzpah that you want to see. Like, he just took down Renfro. Like, he's gonna, like, I don't think he's gonna win. I don't think he's gonna win. I don't think he. No, yeah, agreed. I don't think he's gonna win. I just think that the line is too wide. And at the end of the day, like, Morales is just as uncomfortable in the striking as Fugit necessarily is. Like, Fugit's the Muay Thai guy, so he likes the knees and the kicks. He's not as well versed in the boxing, and he's comfortable with his grappling. Morales comes from that jiu-jitsu heralded family, right? Both of his parents are black belts. He's an incredible grappler, but his striking is kind of more rudimentary. He's got the physical tools in terms of being quick and being strong and being long. But yeah, I mean, his striking at this point, at only 22 years old, leaves something to be desired. He should win. Line's way too steep. So yeah, I did. I was kind of thinking similarly to you that, like, again, like I'm saying, like the fight is too wide. Like, the fight's too wide. Not necessarily that I want to play the dog, but just that, like, there's more fight in this dog. The fight is a little bit closer. I think it goes a little bit longer. Maybe Brady's got something though. What do you got, Brady? No,
I don't have anything. I
don't blame you.
Morales, huge favorite, -650. I mean, there's not much. You can't even parlay him in that price. And then you take a look at the props. Morales inside the distance, -200. Like, come on. And then the knockout props, like -135. Just nothing playable. So I mean, if anything, you're forced to play that over 1.5, and it probably will be sweaty. But yeah, nothing's sticking out. I think Morales wins. This guy's 23 years old. I think he has a huge ceiling, and maybe Fugit can present some problems maybe early on, but taking the fight on short notice, just a really tough matchup for him, and the line does indicate that. But yeah, I can't play anything here. The line's too wide, and these props are too wide as well. So I'm gonna sit back and watch this one. I'm gonna have a lot of Morales on DraftKings, so that's about it for me.
That's an interesting point. So I'm not like super well versed in that. So why would you want? You just think he's gonna rack up stats?
Yeah, I think he probably finishes them.
Interesting.
And if not, then he can, exactly, because you'll get points for the more significant strikes. Or is it control time now, or is it?
The control time, takedowns, strikes, all that out. Yeah.
Cool. Brady, if we could digress even one more second in terms of your, because we never even talked about this personally, in terms of your personal MMA betting, if you're comfortable answering, how much would you say percentage wise do you play on DFS, like, or do you play on like money lines, props, like that kind of thing? Like, if you had to break down your bankroll percentage.
Yeah, it's
is it straight up 50-50?
It's changed over the years. At first it was like 80-20 in favor of DraftKings to betting. Then it was like 50-50, and now it's more so like 75-25 in favor of betting now.
What do you mind me continuing to ask? Like, what has made you, like, has the switch just kind of come as your results have come? Like, have you found more of an edge in the betting market as opposed to the DFS market?
I don't know. I think I just kind of fell in love with betting a little bit more lately. I think that's what it is.
That's fair. I respect that. Like
Yeah,
maybe the
sure.
more the immediacy. And
Yeah.
like I also feel like when you're doing the DFS, at least from what I've seen, it's like it's just kind of like this. It's like getting these computer, like if you want fucking concert tickets, it's like you need bots. Like you just need to you're spamming shit. I need
Yeah.
10,000 entries in this fucking tournament, and like what the fuck?
Exactly.
Like that's
But-
not even that's like fucking
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
not
with
The
even
only
fun.
ones
With, like-
I ever did was single entry.
Yeah, with like DFS, you're playing against a bunch of people, but with betting, you're just playing against a bookie, basically. So I like both, though. But yeah, mostly betting for me nowadays.
Awesome. I appreciate you answering that. Thank you.
Oi, Weezy,
Oh, Uncle, my family's here. What's up, Unc?
our favorite uncle. What's going on, pops? All
That's-
right, so our next fight here, we got I promise won't spend too much time on this one. We got Joslyn Edwards versus Jeon Kim. Edwards, now we finally all figured out this fight's a bantamweight. It was a little bit of circling early in the week, like really trying to figure out what was correct. We can now confirm Joslyn Edwards is not going to be damaging her body going down to 125 on like a week notice. So that's definitely a solid thing. Jeon Kim is going to throw tons of jabs that are going to touch air. That's also, I don't know if that's a solid thing or not. And Joslyn Edwards, she's going to throw a ton of oblique kicks and front kicks to the body. So the question is Edwards going to look a little bit springier back down at 135, a little bit more energetic? Because she looked a little sluggish at points, but at the same time, Ramona Pascual landed those knees in round one and really hurt Joslyn Edwards to the body. And then by round three, we're starting to see more of those combinations with the hands. She feels more comfortable stuffing the takedowns. She's not as worried about those knees to the body because she's able to keep the range. So I think Joslyn Edwards here, using the leg reach that she's got the 2-inch advantage in leg reach, whereas Jeon Kim's got the 2-inch advantage in arm reach. But you see Kim has the advantage in reach in every fight. And as Guru likes to tell me, just because you have the reach doesn't mean that you know how to use it to your advantage. So just because you have the reach advantage doesn't mean you're going to use it. So Jeon Kim, you've proved time and time again you're not going to use it. Dez, what's going on, dog? Guru's got to scrap that jersey, apparently. I'll support it. I'll support the jersey.
What are you talking
But
about? It's the
he's got to
Alonzo
close up the
jersey.
chest
Get
there,
it.
I think.
Dez, I appreciate you getting in the chat, but get the fuck out, bro. We just won. We just won. Get out of here,
yeah, so
baby. I know he's a
that's
huge
it.
Yankee fan, so shout out, Dez.
That's it, yeah. Joslyn Edwards, minus 120. I just think you might as well say Joslyn Edwards by decision plus 120. That's my pick. I don't think Kim's going to wrestle, so I think Edwards is just going to land the better strikes and actually land more strikes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not sure if we can still play Joslyn Edwards. I'm not sure if they're still minus 120. See, yeah, I'm kind of interested in that. Like, I feel like, all right, so 135 is realistically like her proper weight class. She went up to 145 to do the UFC a favor and fight I think they changed that like the week of or 2 weeks before. Like, Ramona was not in a place to make weight, and Jocelyn's like, fuck it, I'll do it. Like, we can just keep it pushing. And then she wins a gritty fight. So good. That's, to me, is a positive thing. So I like her here at minus 120. The ways in which she loses, which is right, crazy wrestling, being held down, getting out volumed. None of those things are what Jeon Kim is known for. The one caveat I have here is that, like, Jeon Kim's backup is against the wall here. Like, she's gonna find her way the way of the Dwight Grant. Like, she's gonna find herself on the unemployment line in a minute here, because I'm sure after 3 losses, while again they're not, each loss has gotten worse and worse, right? Like Alexa Grasso lost. Like, bro, don't worry about that. You're good. Come out in the next one. Molly Mccann. Okay, that meant a little bit more probably at the time. Now Molly Mccann has rallied off a few. She's like, okay, Molly Mccann looks pretty good. Maybe don't worry about that one as much either. Okay, Priscilla Cachoeira. Oh, I don't really have as much leeway for you, but get it done here versus Jocelyn, or like there's nothing he can do for you. So I think it's kind of a tough spot for her to be in. Again, like she's gonna have to out volume her because Jocelyn is one tough chick. So I'm on Jocelyn. DFS has to. Brady's got to give me some crazy grant the other way to maybe consider possibly flipping me, but I don't think it's in the cards here.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the cards. And yeah, I retired from betting on fights like these, and I actually did come out of retirement 1 week to bet Victoria Leonardo as a dog against Mandy Baum. Had to do
Good
it.
choice. You had to,
Had to
dude,
do
and
it.
maybe that's the way to play it. You just play it like I'm retired,
Yes.
and then like you just come out for those spots because then I was like trying to get TB there. Look at him lamenting over there. I was trying to get TB so hard, and I'm just like, whoa. I was trying to get TB on that spot on the turtle, so passionately, and I couldn't quite get it there. And I mean, I bet it a little bit personally, but.
Yeah, I mean, so I came out of retirement for that. I mean, I had to fade Mandy Baum, but this it's probably close. It probably goes to decision. I think Edwards should win this fight. Kim's going to do a lot of missing, but we're going to have a crowd. The judges suck a lot of times. Who knows if they're going to score those air punches?
Split.
They're blind. It probably is a split, honestly.
Let's bet the split. Let's bet the split right now. Let's split it right now.
The split's probably like plus like 300, I'm guessing.
350.
350.
Let's go.
Probably is. It probably is.
I'm diving right into grandma's couch cushions.
And you might as well play that because the fight goes to decisions like minus 330, and there's a really good chance it's a split decision. So if I'm playing this, it probably would be the split, but I'm going back into retirement.
Smart move. Smart
you know
move,
what?
Brady.
Because you can't even really call it a retirement if you come out to play this fight. So
Yes.
I don't blame you. So I appreciate that. Brady's retired, guys. Don't expect him to play lower level women's MMA, unless of course it's his wife.
Unless something really pops up.
Who do you love? It's not.
Liang Na.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. I know Lemos is our guy, Lucrative. So.
Yes. So I mean, listen. I think we
get me back. Literally, I am a Weezer song. I'm that island in the sun, baby. If that's not already hinting to where I'm going.
So yeah, because we got Nikolai Negumereanu. I just pulled up the line right now, and if you saw me freaking out during the last fight, looking like I was having a panic attack,
I didn't see that.
It's because Negumereanu is now minus 115 out of I would say out of fucking nowhere, but I can see why. Everyone's on him. Negumereanu minus 115 and Poteria is minus 105 now. The second he hits plus money, if that happens, is coming in. Guru, go aehad, buddy.
Listen, bro, people are just like, they're savages, right? Like, oh, Ihor hasn't fought. It's the same argument with our other Egyptian wrestler up top. It's like, oh, these guys, they haven't fought anybody. Like, that they're the same people laying 3 units yesterday on Ozzy Diaz. Like, homie hasn't fought anybody either. Like, it's you have to be real, like, with what people have done, with who they've faced, and their level of competition, and all these things. These guys on Dana White Contender Series, when they're getting there, they haven't fought the best level of competition. It's what you do with it and how you look at some of those intangible things. It's a little bit of that projecting. People are shitting on Ihor, and I don't necessarily get it. Yes, he's fought like suspect level of competition. That's fair. He hasn't fought in a little while. That's also fair. But, the guy he beat 8-0. Yeah, I mean, it's not a great 8-0, obviously, but the way in which he does it is what is more impressive to me, right? Like, man, even if, what, it's not even, let's call a spade, right? This guy is not very impressive. Maybe he can be, but he hasn't been. And more importantly, the level of his competition is extremely suspect. However, if you go flip it on the other side to our guy Nick Negumereanu, like, homie has a really suspect game plan in general. He just wants to walk through the fire, right? He just wants to come forward, chin up in the air, standing up straight, throwing crazy shit. Like, I'm not
You
necessarily
gotta love a 36% distance accuracy
right.
when your opponents are landing at 57%.
That's nuts.
Also, 2 out of his 3 UFC wins are not wins. Kennedy and Nzechukwu won that fight, and Alexa Kamer won that fight. Okay, back to you, Guru. Good, keep going.
Yeah. So that's more of kind of what I'm saying. It's like, even if you don't want to be as stark to say that he robbed the judges twice or whatever, like, they're way too close of fights. And now you've got that same thing I was talking
And
about.
now,
Fuck you, man. Now you've got the same thing I was talking about. And it's like Vegas lines it one way. They truly see it like that. And there's nobody like it's the game of telephone, and people are just hammering this guy. And now the line makes no fucking sense. Nega Mariano, even if let's take it a step further. I'm putting on the crazy hat. Bro, he won those fights handedly. I don't know what you're talking about. He dominated Alexis Kammer. He dominated Kennedy Nzechukwu. What fight are you watching, bro? Great. They're not. Who the fuck did he beat? That doesn't mean anything. It means nothing, right? So, oh great, Kennedy Nzechukwu won his last fight against fucking who? Carl Roberson. You know where he is? On the unemployment line too. Like, it doesn't mean much. Homie's taking his time. He's off the Dana White Contender Series and facing a guy that he can beat in this fucking crazy line that's now flipped where there's no value anymore. Give me Ihor. Let's go. Like, let's go. There's no reason to be on Nicolau here. Not with your hard-earned money. The fuck? Maybe there's a prop. I kind of like the fight to go the distance because it's going to be a slop fest. But Brady, too long, buddy. I've been ranting. Thank you. Guys are so respectful of me for my ranting. You guys are the nicest.
This is probably worse than the freaking Kim Edwards fight for me. I mean, there's no way I can bet on this fight. I mean, yeah, that's crazy line movement though. Like, Nega Mariano opened up at plus 170. He's plus 150, and just money's piling in on him, and the line completely flipped now. And yeah, I don't like either guy here. You know, Ihor, like you said, he's fought some extremely sketchy competition, but as you also said, Nega Mariano has also fought some very extremely competition. He did lose the Kennedy fight, or at the very worst, it should have been a draw, which sucks, by the way, because I actually had the draw bet, and they robbed me from that. And then also the Kamer fight, where that was the fight where he was grabbing the cage 50 times in the third round. And he should have lost it as well. He has like a 36% striking defense, something crazy like that, 38%. Both guys are just not great. So yeah, I don't know how I'd bet this. I would kind of lean it going to decision as well. Both guys seem very tough, but it's going to be sloppy. It's going to be greasy, and it's a fight I really just can't put any money on. But yeah, if you like Pateria, wait. And then he's going to be plus money very soon, it looks like. Just money's steaming in.
He's going to win.
Mariano.
He's going to win. I'm telling you now. Because at the very least, when this is a sketchy split, when there's a yam bag, when there's something like he will be the
find
one
your
you
own
should be holding the ticket
Guru.
on. Why? I'm shouting out my dog.
Shout out to Lou.
Yeah, shout out to Lou.
Well, make sure you shout him out when you do it then.
Every time. It's quite often now, but fine. You know, shout out Lou. You guys got it. They all know. Whatever, man. Listen, I'm on Ihor, man. I'm a whore for Ihor here. Let's go.
All right, well, fair enough. Now we are on to our first/final/opening fight of the evening here.
This fight is like the sketchiest greaseball fight.
Yeah. Orion Kosi versus Blood Diamond. This is like not quite Dontel Mays as far as the line movement, but similar thing early in the week. I'm like, Guru, I'm thinking we might need to play Orion Kosi. What do you think? He starts going, oh, I'm not sure. I'm like, all right, well, let's start watching tape and let me know, because if we're going to do it, we need to do it quick. So obviously line movement happened, and, you know, I'm kind of happy we didn't end up laying the play once again. Similar story to the Dontel Mays thing. You know, and, you know, sometimes early in the week I'll get pulled into the narrative, and then and we lay an early play and there's no way to come back on it. So sometimes having patience, sometimes you'll miss the line movement, but sometimes you'll think better of it. Sometimes you have Sergey Pavlovich and you want to throw him down. Like that one actually, you know, you find your plays. So at the end of the day here, I don't have anything. I'm sorry, guys. Orion Kosi versus Blood Diamond. It's like, if this fight Orion Kosi could go land a double leg, take down Blood Diamond each round, and hold him down. Orion Kosi could finish Blood Diamond. Blood Diamond could stuff the takedowns and finish Orion Kosi on the feet when he gasses out.
Yeah.
Any of those things are possible, and it's the opening fight, and I'll probably be cooking or doing something or getting ready and all that stuff.
Right.
And
you'll be cooked.
So we got another sex bot. Let me take care of that, Guru. Help us out.
A sex bot. No, so this line has just gotten wider and wider and wider. Like, it is not cute at all. So I'm not necessarily looking to play it anymore. Orion Kosi needs to wrestle. He is a wrestler. That's his bread and butter. He should wrestle. Problem is I'm not sure how successful he'll necessarily be. When he gets a takedown, how long will he sit there and control him? You got to control him the whole time, and you got to get the finish. He's somebody that I saw not only necessarily kind of struggle with his takedown control, but against a good grappler in Philip Rowe, but also struggle to rain down any sort of damage in those positions. So that's not ideal. And then inversely, when we all, and I think it was the sharp gappers, I know it was us, when we faded Blood Diamond in his debut there on the card with his brethren and his city kickboxing brethren, right? When we faded him, we're like, Jeremiah Wells, gonna grapple him here, good wrestler, spam wrestler, gonna take him down. Bro, he stuffs like the first couple. He stymies him against the cage. He holds off the sub against the cage for a little while. Like, he's not a fish out of water. And then we want to take it a little bit of even a step further is, are we really like knocking him for a sub loss to Jeremiah Wells in his debut? That dude's fucking legit as fuck. So like, it'll be very interesting to see who he matches up with next now that he knocked out Court.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, that's a little crazy. Shout out Apple with the pregnant man emoji. But like, so it's tough to knock somebody's like takedown. You didn't stop getting taken down by Jeremiah Wells. Well, the dude's a fucking savage and he doesn't stop shooting for takedowns. So it's like, it's going to happen. So Orion Kosi, I guess that's my whole point as I ramble. Orion Kosi's not the wrestler that Jeremiah Wells is. So it'll be very interesting to see how the fight plays out. And inevitably, Orion at even I think he's minus 195 now. I would say even minus 170, minus 160. Yeah. It's still too wide. So I guess that technically makes it dog or pass. But how about it's get drunk, find a fight prop that you like right before the fight starts and throw a little 5 spot on it and have a good time. DFS, you got Brady, you got something strong for us? I assume you're kind of feeling like we are. What do you got?
Yeah, a little. I mean, this man, the card starts out so sketchy. I mean, we have Blood Diamond Kosi, we have Ior Pateria, Nikolai Negamirianu, Jeon Kim, and Joslyn Edwards. I mean, the card starts out sketchy,
and then it finishes sketchy though.
It does. Like, this whole card could potentially be sketchy,
right. That's what I kind of said to kick off the when I said it at the breakdown. Like, I hate to be that guy, but like it's kind of like fucking sketchy here, man. Like, it just is.
Yeah, but I mean,
split decisions top to bottom.
The fights are interesting, but like I said at the beginning, they're matchups that generally like they need to happen. We need to see Blood Diamond again. Like, these are all things that are super important. So, Brady,
thank you, President Camacho, for the pregnancy.
Yeah, shout out, man, showing up.
I mean, if anything, it's going to be the fight doesn't go to decision here, depending on where they price it. I know Bovada has minus 185. Bet Online is minus 300. You don't want to lay minus 300 on it, but look and see what I'm going to look and see what draft
under 1.5 plus 105.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. I would, because Kosi has 3 finishes in that third round. So, but I think this fight does finish one way or another. Stylistically, you have a wrestler in Kosi who on top has good ground and pound, has some submissions. Blood Diamond on the feet, kickboxer.
Mike Mathitha.
He's okay. He spams head kicks, I noticed as well. So maybe he lands a head kick. This fight's a mess. It's sloppy. I'll be very light on some violence here. Nothing extremely big, but I think the fight does finish. Minus 195 on Kosi. You probably don't want to be getting there. He does slow down. And if Diamond's able to stuff the takedowns, keep it on the feet, he will be the better striker. But Yeah, I'm not sold on Blood Diamond. He's 3-1. He's fought nobody outside of Wells, which he got finished in the first round. He's on the card because he's Adesanya's buddy. Just not completely sold on him yet, but yeah, I think Kosi rules here, but I don't want to lay minus 200. Just about to find out. So give me violence, covers both sides, but that's about it. That's about it for this fight.
Yeah, him and Kai Kara France were cutting weight together in the same hotel room together, obviously, because they both
Yeah.
have the same coach
Mhm.
with Israel as well. So yeah, definitely again, like for a pay-per-view, like I couldn't be more excited in terms of watching, because now we not only have 2 pay-per-views in the month of July, but we only have 2 more events to the next pay-per-view. So they jam-pack those pay-per-views in the summer. So I really am. I'm looking forward to it. Some sketchy fights, some fun fights. I'm sure MMA Twitter will be fucking ablaze with, this was a robbery, this was some bullshit. And then like, bro, what are you doing laying $300 on this fight? Like, you know that you're not calling it bias. Like, just be real. They don't know how. It's okay. We know how, and that's the most important part. So TB, you want to talk about what you pulled up here before we get out of here?
Yeah. So here we are. We're at our Bet MMA page. First time we've really done this on this stream. Just want to show you guys where to find us, because we always talk about it. But here it is: betmma.tips/chronic combat. Brady, what's your tag on Bet MMA?
I think it's just DFS by the numbers.
All right, awesome. So make sure you follow DFS by the numbers. Also, he'll leave everything on. It's third-party tracking. So here it is. This is where you see. So you got the straight picks, Sergey. The odds are plus 100. You can see who his opponent is too, and that's the units bet. So we got 2 units. And then next, if you go down to our props and parlays, Alex Morono versus Matt Semmelsberger. So the pick ends up being Semmelsberger and over 1.5 rounds plus 100, 1 unit on DraftKings. So boom, there you go. Welcome to Bet MMA. Make sure you follow us there. Make sure you guys like and subscribe on our channel. Make sure you leave a comment with your best bet once the stream is through. We really appreciate you guys and all your support. The channel keeps growing, nearly at 200 subscribers. And it's all the thanks of people like Brady, people that we looked up to before we even ever started doing this, the people that we still listen to weekly, to get their thoughts and ideas and see where we're at in our overall game plan, because it's important, and like honestly just the respect and wanting to support and be there, and for him to come on and be with us and everything like that, man, it's awesome. And got to tell you guys, he's just as cool as he seems on the channel and everything. Like, just such a good guy, down to earth and everything. So thanks for joining us, people, and thanks for joining us, Brady. Do you have any last thoughts yourself, man?
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure being on here talking fights. Awesome. You guys are almost at 200 subs. I think you guys are like, what, 4 or 5 subs away. So hopefully you get that by maybe the event. So make sure you guys subscribe to these guys. They do a good job, bring on a ton of fire guests as well. But yeah, looking forward to the card. Not a ton of action on this card, honestly. Like I said, I don't have bets on the main event, the co-main event, and a bunch of these early fights. But kind of middle of the card is where I'm going to be at. I think there are some spots to stick out, and I think we covered them all pretty good. So looking forward to it. And again, thanks for having me on.
Brady, literally always a pleasure, bud. It's a true honor to have you on. DFS by the numbers, MMA Engine. Make sure you're following at TB Scouting MMA. Make sure you're following Twitter Verdict, Instagram Tapology. Brady has the round table he does with Eric Betts Fights, Narco Cop, and Uncle Wheezy about I think it's the exact hour before every card. Doesn't matter when the card starts, they go an hour before. Whether it's, I promise you, whether I'm watching them the hour before or I put on CJ and Manpreet's propping you up, I'm always watching what, like, you guys, like your show right before is like literally my, and then with question mark kicks with Fight Night Picks, you guys are what I do as a capper, as a guy that's pushing my own show. Like, that's how I enjoy my Saturdays, is literally watching you. So like, to have you on, it means a lot, man. So thanks so much for coming on. We got, guys, doesn't matter that we had a pay-per-view a couple weeks ago, doesn't mean that we have a pay-per-view in a couple weeks from now. We keep it rolling. Next week we have Thiago Maheda Santos taking on Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. And we also have the tough finale with Zach Pauga undefeated, taking on Muhammad Usman, and Juliana Miller taking on Brogan Walker. I know TB's gonna have to do a lot of extra tape for that. I feel pretty interesting about at least how I feel on those two tough fights. And you know what fight's sleeping on there? I had no idea that fight was even really booked, and it's on there. What the fuck? Vicente Luque and Jeff Neal. Like, the card is a fucking sleeper next week. Like, that's sick. So, Brady, off
Thank
the
you,
top of your head,
UFC.
how you feeling for that main event? Any specific anything you're feeling right off
I
the top here?
I think Santos is done, man. Was he like
Yeah.
39 now? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's Hill's time. I think Hill knocks him out in the first couple rounds.
Yeah. Is there gonna be any value on it though? We gotta hope.
No,
right?
he's like minus 300, I think.
But even like on
Yeesh.
that round 1 or 2 grouping or
Yeah,
something, like,
we could find something. Yeah.
we're gonna have to find something. So make sure
Yeah.
you're tuned into Brady to find that. Guys, thanks so much. I'm gonna stop talking. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. Hey, listen, if you liked our Dana White Contender Series content, I went quietly 4-0 on my money line picks. We nailed our bet, our parlay. TB, nailed his couple picks too. Went head to head with me on the main event. That was a tough one. But hey, listen, it happens. Next week we got CFFC's own Charlie Campbell, dude. Dude's a savage. Got to watch him twice live. I mean, dude is literally unbelievable. So I'm gonna double check the tape there and probably be laying a bet on him.
Let these people
And,
go,
yeah.
Guru.
I am. I'm just saying, man. Check out that Dana White Contender Series content, man, if you like it. So, goodbye.